Dark mode for the win. Oops. Push buttons. Close. All right. Hello, and welcome to another One Lion of Code. I am One Lion. Happy Friday to all of you. I see Abadus, who resubbed. Thank you so much for that resub. Super duper appreciate it. Wow, 14 months. That is a long time to be subbed. I do appreciate you. Thank you for being here. I also see Good VJ. He says, Hola, ¿cómo estás, mi amigos? Estamos muy bien. Cansado un poquito, pero muy bien. Anyway, hi. Happy Friday to you. Thindal. Thindal's here too. Shout out to Thindal. Man, this camera. All right, we're gonna leave this scene because oh wait, they're stabilizing. Okay, we're gonna stay on this scene while I continue greeting all of you. Thindal, if you guys don't know him by now, you should check out his streams whenever he does stream. You didn't see me, but I didn't say anything, but I am here. Just saying hi to Thindal, and he does .NET development, working in .NET technologies. I wrote down a little blurb for him for earlier, but he works on a wide range of the .NET framework. Anything from ASP Classic, web pages, all the way up through .NET Core, modern web templates, web application types. It's really cool. And that is, yeah, no, completely understandable. It is good when we get to watch you stream, but I would prefer that you take care of yourself before you stream. Because, yeah, be kind to Thindal, please. But yeah, he also made this extension called No Docs. Wow, that took a minute. Called No Docs. Wait, Dukasoft bot responded to No Docs. Interesting. Does that mean that my bot isn't actually listening? Either that or I disabled mine because Dukasoft's bot was taking care of it. That's most likely what happened. Anyway, he created this Visual Studio extension called NoDocs, which is a really cool extension that helps you to mask key value pair, well, the values in key value pairs for XML or JSON files. So if you happen to be a streamer or you're presenting to someone and you accidentally open up your secrets or just some file that you don't want people to see the values of, then this will help you with that. I use it on the stream. But yeah. Okay, so happy Friday to you. Fridays on this channel are community days, and I was trying to get the stream room ready. Make sure that my audio source is set up correctly because I recently did a call with someone else. And yes, everything is as it should. Start my virtual camera. Yeah, we're getting off this scene. This person cannot sit still. It's a really nice scene. Okay. And then turn on the camera so that if you are interested, yeah. Wait, maybe. Is .env is .env an actual .env file, or is it .env.json? Because if the file type is .json or .xml, then it'll work. And hi tbdgamer, great stream this morning. I'll be doing shout outs for these two again later in the stream, but quick shout out for tbdgamer, who is also a .NET developer working on a large project planning platform called that he's currently calling Liquid Sky. It's really cool, has a lot of cool technologies in it, everything from queues to messaging to database to front-end work. Lots of front-end work that he doesn't really want to do, but he's doing just enough so that it can be presentable, usable, pretty much what all of the app developers tend to prefer. I don't think NoDocs looks at the file extension, it looks at the renderer that Studio selects. That's awesome. So if the .env file in Visual Studio opens using either the XML viewer thing or the JSON viewer thing, then it will work on it. But if it just looks like a config file where it's like key equals value, then no. Most likely won't. Looking for the bot. That's one of them. But if you wanted to, add it, go ham. Yeah, it was a great stream on TBD's stream this morning. Fun times hanging out with him. Always enjoy his streams. Blazor bot. Okay, so later on in the stream, in about maybe 30 minutes or so, we're gonna have a poll for what direction the stream is gonna go in. I'll say this again throughout the stream until then. We have a few options since we did wrap up the revamp layout branch, which, by the way, did that actually close out the issue? Is this the whole redesign? Yeah, and that was only one part of it. So where's 54? Was it 54 or was it 52 that I just saw? It was 52. It didn't complete 52. This is the problem with not planning it out a lot better than I did. That was actually 50 that we completed. What was that branch number? $54. Or the PR number is what I said. Is that the mobile studio? Yeah, that's the mobile studio. Mobile studio is having some struggles today. 54. Okay. So we're going with that. Yeah. So we finished with the UI redesign. Here it is. Create tasks for each part of the UI redesign. Anyway, we finished the landing page portion, or we're calling it finished. It's good-ish, and I'm going to keep using that phrase too. It is at a point where it does look a lot better, and it could still use some improvements, but that could be a later task if we even continue with this. So with that, I said once we finish with that, we're going to upgrade the project to .NET 8. Then from there, we can go to doing my work product. So doing streams the way that I used to do the streams, where I actually work through my work day, or at least a lot of my work day on stream, working on official real world projects. Or we can continue with the UI redesign for the data entry pages, or we can finish the bot, like, use the stream time on Mondays and Wednesdays to work on the bot, get that completed, and move on. I am using Fridays for it whenever I do write any amount of code on Fridays. Most of the time it's just talking with you guys, which I do love. So still a really good time. And then of course there is also the option to use parts of the stream. If we do workday streams, it's going to be like pretty much a 6-hour stream where I am working through my workday, but we could still set aside like 2 hours, which I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays, for working on music, which would be a different stream altogether. Like I would stop the development stream, start a stream on working on music, and then go back to development. But I still think that it might just be the case where I stream for longer. Yeah, I used to stream that all the time. Let me see if I can find a sample. A sample. Can I duplicate this tab? Yes, I can. Here. Back when I started, I'm sorry, they were 7-hour streams, but I did take like an hour lunch during these streams. Or 30 minutes. I don't know. I really don't remember how many breaks I took. But yeah, the thing is that I don't want to provide an environment where any of you would feel obligated to stay for any amount of time. I also don't want to make you have to choose between watch a One Lion stream or some other streamer that you wanted to focus more on, or take up one of the slots that you might use for watching multiple people stream. So I don't know. A longer format stream is potentially not a good idea. One more lion. So we could still do the work product stuff. It's just that you won't be seeing the entire development, or the majority of the development. You'd still only be seeing a couple hours of it, but we can talk about that later. The logistics of it, if we even go that route. So I'll put out a poll in about another 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, So Thindal was saying about the no docs, no INI file yet, but if you want to add it, go ham. Good VJ said anything we can talk about on Discord, boys can talk on any Fkin thing. Yesterday, me and my friends started to talk about Java and C++ and competitive programming and end up discussing early human civilization. I'll try not to steer conversations into personality and esoteric realms. I've been doing that a lot lately. I'd like to focus on technology topics that are relevant to this channel. Loki is not satisfied with the cookie right now. He wants my lunch. So Loki was all up. Loki is TBD's one of TBD's dogs, and Loki was all up in TBD's business, as they say. Okay, where are we? I finished my intro spiel, I guess. Here's the Community Day link. So information about Community Day. On Community Days, I open up Discord voice channel for any of you, and not required, definitely welcome, to come in and start talking using your voice on Discord. Your voice will come through onto the stream, and just know that I do take all of the VODs and push them to YouTube at some point after the stream. So your voice will be forever recorded. And yeah, if you're not comfortable with that, you can still participate in Community Day simply by chatting and using text conversation. And so what I try to do is I focus more on first music stream challenge, develop a jingle for Community Day. That sounds fun. I am getting a little bit better at music. So again, my process for learning music is I'm having Suno, which is an AI application, I guess, an AI service that can generate music. I have it generate the style and type of music that I like, provide it some lyrics for songs that I would want it to have lyrics for, and then it generates music for me. I decide whether I like it or not, and if I like it enough, I throw it into Fruity Loops and then start arranging it and sequencing it and mixing and mastering and all of that process, the whole production process of the song, so that I can learn how to do it. Whew. I don't know why I'm so out of breath. It feels like it's been a long time since I've talked this much. It hasn't, but it feels like it. We know. Okay. So the bot, while I'm waiting for anyone that is interested in talking, I guess, do I even have it on there? So I really need to add to the Community Day message. Let me do that real quick. To view SQL Server Object Explorer, SQL Server, Angie. Automated Realms. Hello, Rain Dance. Happy Friday. It is already Friday. I say it that way because, the week does go by pretty fast when you're involved with doing things. The thing that we talked about last week with TBD and Thindal, where I pretty much hijacked the stream, was trying to get feedback on how to implement a rules engine. I did end up going with the I don't remember which actual ideas I implemented from you guys. Where are my notes? I was able to look up more information because of the term ETL, and I was like, this really is an ETL process. Identifying the template type using the header row and pretty much turning the header row into an MD5 hash and then using that as an ID. An output field, I added no stored procedures for me. But I'm also using, I think one of you brought up the idea of using the C# compiler stuff to be able to just have C# syntax essentially get generated from the field mapper. So if I'm using split, it's actually going to output my code. My code is going to output .split. I'll let them specify the pattern to split on. I'll sanitize it, make sure that it has properly escaped characters and stuff, and then after that it will do a dot. So I have some custom methods, like instead of doing an interpolation where they're writing curly brace whatever part this dot split, and then the first index, this dot split last index, whatever. I'm making an interpolate method that will be able to get turned into C# syntax and then evaluated and then ran. So it's constantly returning a transformation result, I think is what I called it. So anyway, it's really cool. It's fun and it's getting there. What was I doing? I was updating the community day message to say, yeah, kinda. It's a method chaining is all it really is. Join our Discord. Just hop into any voice channel and type bang waiting into chat. I'll pull you into stream mode. Okay, let's turn our that into that. Okay, I will be with you in a half seconds. Okay, automated realms. Refresh commands, I think. Community day. Yes, cool. Okay, so that has better information. I mean, I only added one small part to it, but if you are wanting to participate in community day, then just type !waiting into chat after you have joined a stream voice channel, and then I will see you there, and then I'll pull you into the actual voice channel where your voice comes through. All right, that's done. Now to catch up on words, like Good VJ, for example. Oh, no wonder I couldn't see anyone. I wasn't scrolled down. All right, I'm pulling you into the voice channel in 3, 2, 1, 0. But I'm also going to read Raindance's stuff. And also remember to mute the stream because you'll hear me through Discord. And we'll also hear the stream through Discord if you... Anyway, done. Mic check, please.
Hello.
Mic is checked. Good sound.
Yeah. Oh, how are you doing today?
Doing excellent. Let me read off Raindance's messages and respond to it real quick. And then I'll say hi officially. So Raindance said, how are you today? Have you worked with channels? Can you tell your experience? What do you mean channels though? We need more information. Do you know what he's talking about, Good VJ?
I don't know. Raindance. Where did he message on Discord?
Did he leave one? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't get the message.
Oh no, it was in chat. It was in chat. Channels in .NET. It sounds familiar. Channel of
Oh, it's
T.
like...
Oh. Yeah, and Good VJ, you don't have to look at the stream anymore. You might be able to see it better through the Discord voice channel.
I'm looking at Discord, yeah.
Awesome.
I'm looking from Discord.
Less lag. Yay.
That's kind of look like a map channel data structure, a key value pair it look like. It's a class structure.
Yeah, interesting. But no, I don't think I have. I'm sure I've heard of it. I just don't know where to use it. If you want to tell us more about it, you're welcome to, Randians. But for now, what's going on, Good VJ? How are you? How have you been? How is your masters?
Yeah,
Doctorate?
I'm doing masters. It's
Masters.
pretty good. I'm just halfway done. Halfway remaining. So 15 credits are remaining. I'm done with 15 credits. It's going pretty good. Participating in hackathons and other competition, and it's going pretty well. But I'm trying to apply for internships and jobs, and the market is terrible right now.
Really?
Not
In
getting any
what
response every day.
industries?
Software, mm, mostly software development, web development,
But in
and
like medicine, banking, are you looking
all of
for
them.
like an area? All of
I
them.
read the job description. If they are asking what skills, asking the skills I'm good at, I apply, but I'm not getting response. Like mostly of them, most of them require less than 1 or 2 year experience, which I have, and they also require some experience with C++,
Oh,
JavaScript
yum.
framework
Yay.
in backend API development, which I have. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but yes, I have. I know how to make that. How I know how ORM works. Like I can make full stack application, full stack web application on my own, but still I don't know what's what's wrong with the market.
Yeah.
I've tried
I
applied
don't know
for
either.
2000. Yeah,
Yeah. I haven't
I've
actually been
tried
looking
applied
in the
for
market or anything.
I've applied for 2024 summer internship. I didn't get any. I'm still trying my luck in 2025 summer internship. Let's see what happens. I've
Hmm.
also tried for fall and spring internships as well, but it is not going well. I'm also working on campus as a web developer for internal website. So I still have to go 2 to 3 times a week in the university campus, work with my professor on an internal application we are building. That's why because of that I'm keeping I'm having in touch. I'm in touch with like the frameworks and application. Otherwise, just assignment and stuff. Nothing special.
Hmm. Yeah, so Mojo was asking where you are. You're in New York, right?
Now I'm in the Midwest,
Midwest. But you
Milwaukee,
flew into New
Wisconsin.
York or something. I don't
Yeah, I
remember.
landed in New York. Then
That's
I
what it was.
connected my flight to Chicago. Then
Oh, you had to
I
go through
drove to
Chicago?
Milwaukee. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Then I drove to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's weird. You would think that in that area there are plenty of .NET development jobs, but you're looking specifically for internships. So,
Currently, yes. After my graduation is done, af- then I might look for full time. That too, I have to look for employees which are potentially and file my immigration for international workers. That's the thing
right.
too. And let's see after the election, maybe there would be some good or bad influence on the market
Mm.
after the election. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens.
It's just really hard for me to keep up with it because I've been working the same type of job. And like, I went to that big consulting firm that, you gave me your information for and I referred you to them. But I wonder if they currently have new student programs available. You could always try back with Sagetti. I mean, you said you already knew about Capgemini before. But anyway, point is,
The
I was
biggest
with them and then
drawback
I
is
came back
I'm
here.
an international student, and they potentially give internship who would be their potential full-time employer in future.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
we are kind of a liability for them
Oh,
because
man.
they, as they don't want to hire, or they don't want to file a immigration petition. Maybe that, because that's kind of hassle for them. It costs around maybe five 5 grand for employer to file the visa for international worker. That's the thing. And also for international worker, you can only file, like, that's a lottery system. You can only file 85,000 application per country. There might be 100,000, 200,000, a million application from my
Right.
home country, but
Yeah.
only 85,000 would be picked
Jeez.
per year. That's why.
That's crazy.
But some companies like big tech, like Apple, Microsoft, Google, they don't fall in that 85,000 criteria. They can file
Oh, really?
out of that, yeah.
Wow.
These are called H1B lottery exempt companies. But yeah,
Mm.
you have to be extra smart to get into that.
Yeah, that's
Let's see
crazy.
what happens.
It sounds like it's a very, very difficult process, though.
Yeah, it is. There's other kind of thing, but that's a temporary like I work for Capgemini, or what we say Accenture, like other survey based company in India, then they can internally transfer me to any other country for some period of time, like for 6 months, for 1 year. Then that would be called L1 visa. It's like internal transfer for temporary period. Then they can call us back. So
So,
I
is it like putting your current visa on hold while you do that? Or.
no, like if I'm not a student here in US, if I'm working in India
Mhm.
as an employee in Capgemini, then they say that you got a project in that country, you have to go there and like
Oh,
contribute in the
okay.
project, and then you can come back.
Okay.
So from that, they can easily file, and I can easily go to any other country as per project requirement. That's for temporary time, maybe 6 months to a
Right.
year. But as coming as an international student, I was very well prepared. I Let's see what's happened in the future. I'm planning to graduate December 2025 next year. Let's see what happens,
Man, that's really
where the life
close.
takes me. Yeah.
When you think about an education career, you're going to graduate in December 2025. That's pretty close,
Yes.
relatively, in my opinion. Because I mean, I was a student for a million years just from my bachelor's, and when I was getting to the end, to that June date, 2009, a year felt like 2 days. It was crazy.
So you completed your bachelor in 4 years, or you did it
In nine
fast, or
years.
you did your bachelor in 9 years?
Yeah. I made a lot of mistakes my freshman year, and then I was taking a lot of part time, or not taking a lot of part time. I was going to school very, very part time because it was expensive, and I was still making a lot of mistakes. I'm just not very good at school. But then, like 2006 or 2005, is when I finally decided I'm gonna buckle down, get this done, get my piece of paper, and graduate.
Early graduate in India, in my home country. Like if you fail for, like, there's a 4 year degree program in bachelor, and there's some a 3 year degree program. I done 4 year bachelor. If you can complete your 4 year degree until 8 years, then you would be like terminate from program, and you will not get admission anywhere. There's a limit till 8 years in India. So that's only thing. In my 4 years bachelor, I had 5 subjects and 8 semesters, 2 semesters per year. And my last semester was kind of internship. There were no curriculum, no exams.
Right, I remember that.
The 8th semester was internship or training.
Mhm.
That's all.
Yeah, I didn't understand channels. Not to divert too much from your topic, we'll still continue talking. I just wanted to respond to Rain Dance. I still don't understand channels based off of this picture, but the short answer to your question is I haven't used channels and I don't really have experience with them. And I'm not really able to understand them in this short span of time with the limited amount of brain processing power I currently have. But it sounds like TBD was able to look at it and understand it. So that's cool. All right, back to you, good VJ.
Eh,
So, what was your
Like you,
entire experience then of going from graduating in India to starting your master's program here?
so in India, the study is more like theoretical based. There is very less or no practical experience. Like just you have to just study this textbook, this piece of paper, this information, and you have to write it in your exam end of the semester, and you will get grades. So there was almost no practical experience. We have to put effort ourselves. Apart from what we have to learn technology of our own, we have to learn frameworks.
Like you're teaching
We have to,
yourself essentially, and teachers are just
yeah,
giving you assignments, and that's it.
yeah.
That
So
doesn't sound
basically,
fun.
I've seen in the US, like my university is not that good, that Ivy League, or not that bad itself. But teachers here kind of have experience. Somewhat they have worked in software industry, some work they have worked in development. But in my home country, it was not that same. It was just theoretical, like teacher comes, write a C++ program of any oops concept, and then left that this is the inheritance, this is the data encapsulation, this is that, and that's it.
Oh.
It was not theoretical, but same teacher taught this subject in this semester, and the same professor taught this subject in that semester. And there were only few universities who actually work on research and development. That's the thing.
And that wasn't one that you were a part of? The R&D
I'm
ones?
sorry.
The research and
Oh,
development ones? You
no,
you
I
didn't
was
do that
never.
one. Yeah.
No. I might do it here in my master program if I'm interested in. Let's see. But currently,
Mm.
I'm not.
And Raindance wants to know how much do developers make in India, and how does that translate to, say, US, if you
So
know.
you can say around like we make around from starting from 8,000, $10,000 a year to around 50,000, $60,000 around. So $8 to $10,000 can make up the 80% of market, and the $50,000 a year in India makes around 1 to 2% of market. That's why India have many more software engineers, because we are a kind of cheap labor. We do the Upwork or Fiverr projects, and in India for around 200 to $800. That's why in India there are many software companies. I've seen where I've done my internship or training was there was a building. You can check any apartment building in like you're in America. There are 16 apartment in the same building. The small apartment, one bedroom, two bedroom, and that same size I've seen company in India. small companies,
Oh,
and
wow. Okay. So taking up that much
yeah,
space only.
yeah. Those companies are mostly based on Upwork and Fiverr freelance project. So basically, the owner of the company was a quite an experienced software like engineer guy. He talked
Mhm.
to the clients like I have an experience and I've got 5 to 6 good developer working under me, and I will make your project in this much like amount and in this much in time. So yeah, technically yes, Indian industry are mostly service based and very partially product based.
Mm. Wait, can you say that last part again? So
Like
most
most,
most tech
most are
companies
service based,
are
like service based. We provide
service
service,
based. Okay.
yeah, like web development,
I heard
app
hardware.
development, and tech support, yeah, and kind of tech support. And very less we have made actual product
Yeah,
like
not really
Google, Facebook,
developers.
yeah.
Or maybe yes, developers, but not developers of actual products, just more like support developers for other teams.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yes. But in India, we still have big companies like Google, Microsoft. From starting from there, we also got Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan kind of financial and technological companies. We also have big four companies like KPMG, PwC kind of thing. We we got almost every company like the America has. But still, what I say that 50 to 60, like most of the work are focused on outsourcing projects.
Mm.
Hey, TBD gamer.
Hello.
Yeah, talk a little bit more TBD. High and
Okay.
low.
How's
Oh,
the
perfect.
sound?
You're perfect.
Sorry,
Pretty
I
good.
forget you have to balance and everything.
You're
Balance.
good. That didn't take long at all. Pro streamer.
I was just about to add in the chat, like, when, as you said, the Indian developers in general are kind of used as cheap labor. I was kind of wanting to say, I wish that the cheap labor was not cheap and was used, because every Indian developer I've worked with has had a deep understanding of software and a deep understanding of
The
how
thing
to
is,
do
we are
things
the thing is
correctly.
we are not in competition with 10,000 or 20,000 American software engineer. We are in competition with a million Indian software engineer.
Yeah, yeah. But so the place I worked for had most of their software development was done in India, but it was an actual company established. It wasn't just outsourcing the entire thing. It was an actual company. So we had hired developers that I got to work with for years, and it was like deep understanding of the software, but not given the confidence to actually affect changes. See, like you said, support programming and stuff like that. And I think that mentality carries through a lot of the time. Even when I was like, you can control the software, we can build the software together. This is all for us to build. And I often struggled with that.
And quick interjection, I put up the poll for where we're going next with the stream content. The end. I have nothing more to say about that.
What Paul? Oh, what you wanna
So in
stream
Twitch,
next?
I was just wondering like what kind of content we should go to next. We can keep working on the financial management tracker, which is just a whole bunch of UI redesign work currently. I will do the .NET 8 upgrade still on Monday, and then we'll do whatever the result is, and we'll talk about how exactly that will look going forward. I could do my day job. I could do the bot, which is gonna be just whenever we get to it.
You still working with Sojeti now?
No, actually, I went back to the place, the location that I used to work at. Different boss, so it's not
The water
exactly the
management,
same company. Yeah,
the
exactly,
water
all that
management
stuff.
project. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm doing the same type of work on the same applications. It's just now I work directly for the prime contractor instead of through Army.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Like
fun.
like I said, like tbdgamer, like in America, the primary education of bachelors, it's very expensive. Like one cannot afford to do bachelors here. But in India, we produce so much engineer a year. Like we produce around a million, more than 10, 20 million engineer every year. Almost the same population of any European country. And 90% of them are technically unemployable because all they did was get good grade and pass the exam, and they almost had no technical knowledge or skills to work on.
Interesting.
No problem. I think that's a general problem with education anyway. Here it might be expensive, but it doesn't guarantee you produce
Yeah, it
good
still
software
has the same
developers.
effect.
And as I did in chat before, I've helped. I mean, I don't have any real formal education in programming. Everything's just experience. But I've long believed that programming should be apprenticeship and not just all schooling. It should be time in job, and not internship either. Actual spend 2 years of a 4-year course in total actually building real software with companies that are looking for that.
I agree, TBD.
Yeah.
Keep talking, Thindal. For a
Yay.
couple seconds. One more.
Yeah. So technically, in my home country, there's a huge wave, or every parent, like you see in Asian or Indian memes, every parent wants their children to be excel in STEM, like STEM field, either be engineer or be doctor, or you are not my son anymore, kind of thing.
Jeez. Or I disown you.
Yeah.
That's long been a meme for I know Indian culture in the UK.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, you must be a doctor.
And there also, like, in some part of India, there is a, like, what we say, a culture of building your business and trying to earn money from business. And in some part, no. You have to go to good college. You have to get good engineering or good doctor degree, and get a job and get married and have many children, and you are good with your life. That's the thing.
Yes, there's a stigma if you don't.
Sorry?
Or rather, I mean, is there a stigma if you don't, create your family right away and get this great job and everything?
Yeah.
Simple
That's
answer,
kind of
just yeah. That's how
Yeah.
it is.
that kind of culture has been created.
Mm.
I don't know what happens next.
I mean,
just
over here, it is 100% acceptable to, be single in your 40s without kids and just, I want to concentrate on me. Or living your entire life without children and just,
in
this is
India,
good.
I might do not get apartment at some society or some neighborhood because I'm single.
Wow.
Because they
What?
have a fear I might hook up with their daughter. That's
Oh
the
yeah, I
fear
see.
in some boomers. These are
Mm.
single people. These people might
Like you guys
misbehave.
are predators or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible.
We have, I mean, cultural norms that we have are not the same. Quite. I love visiting India, and
Where
we
have you
get to hang
visited?
out. We're in
You from?
Hyderabad. Went to the office in Hyderabad.
That's a nice. You from UK? United
I'm
Kingdom?
originally from the UK. I'm in the US.
Okay,
I'm in New
okay.
Jersey. But yeah, we went to visit the office a few times, and it's a very eye-opening experience when you're used to things, the way things work here, and then going to India. It's quite interesting to engage in things there. But I love visiting. It's just you get used to the way things work here, and they don't
Yeah.
work the same way there, and it's an
I
adjustment.
never really visited Hyderabad, but I'm from northern part of India, from Punjab, and I've only visited few cities in the south. I have only visited Chennai or Madras, you can say. I've mostly like stayed in the northern part of India, around Delhi and Punjab and Rajasthan maybe. So there's a like
It's a big country.
yeah,
Mojo says
It's a really
Punjab!
big country.
Exclamation
yeah,
point. Mojo says I'm Pakistani.
nice. I'm from Indian Punjab, bro.
Hi, Mojo.
Hi Mojo. Yeah.
As everyone says, hello, Mojo. Have you been
All
streaming
the
lately,
friends.
Mojo? Yeah, all of them.
Mojo hasn't been programming recently, other than the work thing.
Yeah.
You know, that whole 7,000 line single file. Hi, Snabble.
Yeah, don't run no docs on a 7,000 line XML file. That's a bad idea.
It'll take a while before it starts masking.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's also the entire point, right?
Yeah.
To not show things before it's done. So
I have some amusing we were talking about hiring originally on this conversation started, right? So I have my resume is active on several job sites, etc. And recently on like LinkedIn, I got pinged. We noticed your Java skills and your Spring development skills, and it read like a cookie cutter email. And then the very next day, I got a we noticed your .NET skills, and I'm like, okay, decide what skills I actually have, because there is definitely no Java mentioned in my resume. And I just got I got an email, and the title was "Noticed your work, pretty amazing." Right? Okay, I'll open it. I'll look at this. And Terry, your software development skills are more impressive than a cat that can bark. Are you looking to change jobs?
I mean, that's funny in a not very funny way, but
Did they offer you
tried.
$12 though?
No, they didn't offer me anything.
I got offered $12.
Yeah, you beat me there.
Yeah.
Like,
ooh.
is that the new way of getting noticed? But the amusing thing is, it comes from a company called Relentless.
Nice.
It's a real company. It is genuine.
Oh dear.
I get tons of messages on LinkedIn and emails from, to my company email, like the contact one, from companies that want to sell AI outreach and cold calling via AI and stuff like that. And their cold call emails are so badly written. Like, they are cold calling me to try and sell a service for cold calling. And the job they do when they try to sell themselves is terrible.
Like, this really just sounds like they had some kind of AI gen thing where they said, come up with a clever way of saying we want to ask you, or we want to compliment you and ask you to change careers. You're more clever than a. I don't know. I can't be clever myself, so I can't come up with stuff.
You are clever.
Not on purpose. Rarely on purpose.
You're not clever on purpose?
I don't think so. I think it just accidentally happens because it comes out. Snabble is telling you you need to work on getting Nodox to work on 100,000 line.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
files.
I do think that I added like a
Right.
max length of where it would work. So it wouldn't
Didn't you say that
entirely
you were
crash your
thinking of
system.
drawing like a box on the entire area until it finishes loading?
Yeah, I think I added that.
Oh, okay.
I'm not 100%.
I
So it's like,
remember
yeah,
you talking
if
about it
it's not like technically feasible for it to do it in a sane amount of time, then yeah, don't do it. But also don't show the schema, right? So he just gives up.
Yes. I need to be facilitating conversation, don't I? You guys usually do a
Yes.
really good job of continuing the conversations and the topics without my intervention.
Yeah, but I'm
Like
tired.
that's what I just said in the chat. Boys can talk on anything. You just give them one single word. They could ended up writing a whole book around that.
Well, as you can tell, I'm still playing around with the bot remake. A lot of this code I am familiarizing myself with because TBD actually pointed me to the work that he's already done on a Twitch bot, and there's a lot done. Like all of the events are already turned into C# classes and a lot of the models and stuff. Now I'm just trying to figure out how I can use what I've already done to.
So is this open?
Yeah, if you want it.
Yeah, sure.
I don't use it.
Yeah, let me look. I'm
I
not
don't
saying
do-
I'm going to use it, but you can always look.
Oops.
My problem is I know that writing a Twitch bot is kind of a rite of passage of becoming a Twitch streamer, right? And I did
Yeah.
write my bot, but I get so bored of it. I get because
Neato.
I'm not building a stream around any entertainment. I'm not
Right.
trying to make it quirky or I'm not a quirky person. So I don't know how to be entertaining in that respect. So I just get so bored of building Twitch bots because I can't think of anything useful to put in. Now, the developers or stream idea, that's where I need the bot, right? That's where I'd want my bot to do things. But that's it.
Yeah, and that's
the only
where
thing
I'm
I can
at.
think
It's
of that I
like
want to do.
I'm all about automation, and if I can automate things like that support the community, like developers.stream, for example, then I want to do that. But also, I'm practical in the sense that software development can be dry. I mean, it's exciting for a lot of software developers, but it can also be dry, and people do like that little bit of dopamine hit during especially coming up. Just so I can segue into this, the do your work day is what won the poll with one vote. So just need to push
None of you voted? Come on.
But that is what we're gonna do.
Actually, that highlights the problem that I've always had. Since beginning streaming, I will often ask, is this what you want to see? Is there different things you want to see? And I try and ask for that engagement. And I get that some people don't hang out. Some people just hang out and I'm noise in the background. That's fine.
Yeah,
but
I prefer
sure, there's people watching what I'm doing. If there's no one watching what I'm doing, why am I doing it? Right? Because I could just make a noise track if that's what's required. I could just sit there and read a book in the morning out loud.
Ooh,
if I'm just
that'd be
noise.
nice.
But so I've asked for engagement on what sort of things people want to see is the things that, and again, like with videos and stuff. So getting polls and stuff is it's hard to gauge what people actually take from a stream.
there's so many people who are passive, right? So I'm about at the same size as our dear lion here, but there's like 2 or 3 or maybe 4 people who are active at all, and the rest of them are lurkers, and lurkers are fine.
Or
But you
think
don't
about it.
get any engagement from it.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
being
want
that's-
to be active, but my schedule is packed up
exactly.
totally.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I want to facilitate a place for. There are a lot of people who are in the middle of their workday. They're trying to do their own thing, and I
When I
just
was
want to
back
be
in my
here
home
as
country, this stream was mostly in the night time,
yeah,
so I can join more often.
and be more
But
active. Yeah.
yeah, since I'm here, it's in the middle of the daytime.
Mm.
Agreed.
That's why I try to join on Friday more often.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, over
But yeah, I
here
mean,
it's 7:30, so
Offset.
time zones are difficult.
Time
I
zones are
would
fun.
say 1930, but a lot of people are like, no, that's military time. You can't say that because we don't understand it.
You mean Americans?
Except that a lot of the world uses
Yeah.
24-hour clock.
Yeah, but I'm talking specifically about Americans.
Uh-huh. You should
Yeah.
try coming from Britain, where you use things like 1:45 and 1/2 and
Yeah,
stuff
exactly.
all the time. And every,
sorry,
every
what?
time I do it, my wife's like, "Will you just say the numbers properly?" I'm like, 1/2. I'm like, how is that not easily understood? It's half hour.
Hoffman.
Yeah.
Is that better? Just get rid
I'm
of the
coming
past.
back in ETA minus 30.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
I'll be there at Zulu 1940.
Yeah. There is a man following you at 9 o'clock.
Wait, I looked at wrong. 5.5 of N50. Oh gosh.
Yeah, and they do count that way, so. But the Germans do too, ish.
Mm.
I mean, they say 5 and 20 for
Yeah,
25. So,
25.
Yeah.
I got one.
so I would say that what Snobber said was 57, but I'm not entirely 100%
Yeah, I
sure.
wouldn't be able to
When
parse that.
when I'm in Denmark, which I will admit isn't very often, and I need to buy something, and I only had, well, okay, so back then I only had cash. So they said something at the cashier, and I just, here's a bunch of money. Please give me
Yeah.
back the rest.
The correct amount of change, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trusting you because I didn't understand what you said, but I know that the number was smaller than this number.
Yeah. Yeah. I bought a chocolate bar. I have $50. It probably isn't $50, so
Hmm.
please
And
give me
Dickasoft's
my
like,
change.
I'm just used to
I
it.
expect some amount of money back. Please.
Yeah.
Reason like what I expect.
Yeah. But we all have that kind of stuff. And I mean, if you look at words, our word for vegetable is literally green thing.
It's awesome.
Give me some of that green thing over there.
Yeah. But we also have smörgåsbord, which
we
is a
ripped.
Swedish word. Yep. Yes, totally. We never steal things.
You don't have loan
Nick.
words in
No,
Swedish?
none
From
at
any
all.
language?
No, absolutely not.
Really? So do you have
tons
words
of
for
loan
things
words.
like quid pro quo or
Yeah, we do.
you do?
It's quid pro quo.
Exactly, which is a loan word then.
Yeah,
Latin.
I'm trying to be funny, and yeah,
I'm sorry,
we
I
have
suck at
tons.
social
Like
cues.
it wouldn't surprise me if like a fifth of the modern Swedish language is
Yeah,
loan.
sorry. If Snapple understood, at least he knew.
I assume Thindal and Phil Snabble are generally sarcastic. That's my basis.
Well,
It
I
happens.
try, but my normal programming is like, I'm gonna take you seriously in case you are being serious, so that I don't discourage you from continuing that.
Yeah.
I'd take the opposite approach.
Yeah.
Be sarcastic unless you tell me you're being serious.
Hmm.
TBD
Snobble,
gamer, you are from
ex-
England or you kind of somewhere else? TBD?
Sorry?
Are you
You are
from
from
England?
England?
I'm from England, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I'm from Manchester in the north of England.
Okay,
And
so do you kind of
70 years in the US.
know like Scottish or Irish Gaelic language?
Oh, no. I'm
That language are totally different from English. I mean,
oh yeah.
how those language exist in that part of the country.
Yeah.
Can you recognize them if someone speaks them?
I can, yeah, generally.
And say like that is Scottish and that is Irish and that is Welsh.
I'm going to
It-
offend any Welsh people, but the way I recognize Welsh is it sounds like Klingon.
That
mean-
that language sounds like German to me.
Well,
Very
if you hear,
difficult to pronounce
hear
word.
Welsh and watch Star Trek, they sound the same.
Gosh.
Welsh have-
You've all seen that clip of the weather presenter, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The clan
like,
Facilio. Yeah.
Yeah, and the long name of a Welsh city, and like it contained no pronounceable words or letters or characters, but
all I know is
somehow he
that-
did it.
In Welsh, araf means slow, and that's all I know because that's all over the road. Because when you go into Wales, all the signs are in Welsh first and then English. When you go to Scotland, they're all English still, so they don't use the Gaelic as much. But Wales still uses a lot of the language. Even their television has Welsh language. And it's not an easy language to learn. I just know that double L is kind of a noise. So if you listen to it, it actually does sound like Klingon.
Yeah.
I was gonna
I
say
mean, just that noise that you did there was like, all right, so that's Klingon.
Exactly. It can sound aggressive, and it's not. But yeah.
No.
My favorite English comedian is from Manchester. Which one? There you go, Peter Kay, are we?
There's only one. What do you mean, which one?
Manchester has produced a lot of great things in this world.
You watch English
I know.
football, English Premier League,
Not as much as I used to. I did the Manchester
City
City.
or United?
City.
Oh.
I was
Jumping
always-
back
I was always
real
contra-
quick, Snobble, Rusbrus
the-
is
half
that
of the
what
people
kind of
around the world.
alcohol is that?
Yeah.
How far back are you going?
Snobbe said rusbrus, RUSBRUS, which basically mean drunken, alcoholic soda. And it was actually alcoholic soda, so like pre-mixed, easy to drink stuff.
And Dukasoft is gonna make me say a funny word. He said our word for the end is sloot. I'm gonna assume that that's how it's pronounced.
That was really good.
You just wanna
Like,
avoid saying
that
it the
was
way you say it.
spot on with the with a long U.
Yeah.
Alcoholic soda. In America, I've seen a pre-mixed alcohol called Jack and Coke, which tastes pretty good, to be honest. Jack
It's
and
like
Coke.
one of the most popular. And you said premix though?
Yeah, pre-mixed.
Because most
You
places
can get them
they-
at gas station. Yeah, I've
Oh,
seen
wow.
at gas station.
Ew.
Live in New
What I-
Jersey. Way too prudish
What
for
I
that.
what I enjoy most is here, beer is almost as cheap as water.
Yes.
And actually, yeah, yeah, that thing I love it.
I think if you want bottled water in Poland, it's the same way. Like, if you buy a liter of beer, it's cheaper than a liter of bottled water. Which, I mean, it feels weird. I've
Yeah,
told you about the
like
best dub I've ever heard on TV, have I?
Maybe, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I was in Poland a whole bunch of years ago. I was like a teenager still, so. And they showed Knight Rider on the TV.
I love Knight Rider.
And since the Poles back then, I mean, they fairly recently left the Soviet Union. So they basically didn't know English, so everything was dubbed. Only they had one person do all of the voices. And with zero, zero energy or anything, so just reading off the paper, all of the lines.
Oh yeah.
And actually buying Knight Rider without the voice was apparently too expensive because they just lowered the volume on the original and then spoke over it.
Oh jeez. Oh man.
Things I'm looking for on YouTube.
Ah, 18.
Yeah.
Thank you for the comment. I don't necessarily shun any programming language. I do make fun of a lot of them, but you're definitely welcome to voice your opinion. Like the thing says, developer opinions at play, opinionated developers, whatever. So,
I had to
welcome
talk
in.
about that over lunch. About microservices and why not. And I said the thing that I usually say, that if your developers say that they want microservices, you shouldn't do microservices because you don't know enough about what that entails. But if you need microservices, that's fine. Yeah. And a good part about it is you can choose the right tool for the job. So you have this little bit and you can use Rust for it, or you can use Python, or you can use whatever.
I have a different
Plus,
take. Oh,
and then if a thing goes down, you're not screwed.
I want to hear
You have a different take.
if one developer says, I want to use Rust for this, you say no and shut them down immediately if you're a .NET shop. If you're a Rust shop, absolutely fine. But if a developer goes, I want to use this completely different language for this piece of the system, you shut them down quick. Because if you let them happen, you've just created the company has a new dependency on training its developers.
Yeah, but that's the entire point, that if you want microservices for this, don't do microservices. If you're Netflix,
Which uses a lot
that's
of
what I
Python.
mean. Yeah, but where it fits, they use a tool. Microsoft were looking for people who knew Rust for the 365 team a while back. And some people went crazy, like, oh, are you abandoning .NET and yada yada. But like, it's a backend service. They choose the right tool for a job. And in this case, Rust was a good tool for that. And that's why you want microservices.
I don't think it makes you a tryhard to try and do that. I think it's because it's become the technology of the moment and people are praising it for the things it does right. I think jumping in and saying I'm doing Rust just for the sake of doing Rust, that's the worst thing you can possibly do.
Yeah,
any technology.
100%.
It's like, does this technology solve a problem that my current technology can't do or won't do? You know, if a technology is deprecated, you have to evaluate new technologies. You should do that. You should understand the life cycle. But, you know, as a .NET developer, there's nothing I can't do in .NET. There might be things that Rust might do quicker, but is it quicker if I have to spend 6 months learning how to do it effectively in that language, and then pass that knowledge on to other people?
But on the absolute other extreme end, do you always use EF, or are you open to going in and writing a query inside of your database as a stored procedure, for example? Because that makes it way faster.
Again, situation based. I'm gonna go with TBD's thought on,
Yeah,
do we need
situation-based.
to teach other people how to maintain this afterwards?
Yeah.
Is it expected on our team, on our current makeup as is, to have this kind of technology in there? Or do we manage everything in C# because we only have .NET developers that aren't database admins or whatever?
Yeah.
Another reason to look at other languages, if you are in the job market and you're in an area that isn't heavily using something, because obviously I'm saying I've looked on LinkedIn recently, etc. There's a lot of jobs that pop up in my thing that are Python or are other languages like other than .NET. If those .NET jobs dried up, what would I do? I'd have to change my skill set. I have to learn something new.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have the right mindset for a coder that you've developed over all these years. So learning a new language, you can do that in like a day or two, the syntax. The big issue is the framework around it, but we keep learning new libraries all the time, right?
Yeah.
So that's also doable once you've got the basics in.
But
so
development and effective development don't hand in hand.
No,
right?
definitely. But you can get started real quick on a new stack.
And I think that lulls people into a lot of false sense of security, especially in businesses where you're trying to introduce something and you see it as you let someone, and I've done it. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of doing this. Oh, look, there's a new cool library, there's a new cool technology that we can use. Let's implement it. Do I understand everything about it?
Mm-hmm. That's the wrong reason to use something.
Well, and I've done that, and I've learned the regret. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that we don't understand enough, and now we're struggling with it because it's gone to production. Here's now where the hard, because a lot of times the hard lessons don't show until you actually try and push the bounds of what that thing can do. And you've got to learn things quickly.
Yeah. We lost him.
Lost who? Oh, good VJ.
Yeah.
If it's
Not
too
judging,
slow, I use C++.
Disappear. Yeah, but that's also fine, right?
Yeah.
If CPP is the tool for the job, because the other tools that are available aren't good at it, then, and you're big enough to be able to, maintain 2 different languages.
Yeah,
AKA not your local shop with 10 employees.
Yeah. I think to piggyback on TBD's comment, it's kind of on the developer to show their skill by adapting to a team's usage of technologies. We bring in our opinions, our experiences, and all that stuff, but ultimately we're working with a team on the same product, and that team has in a more inclusive way chosen this technology to go with. So yeah, anyway, go ahead, TBD.
I said it's if a new technology is proposed, that's okay, but the business has to decide that that's the path they want to take, because obviously the business incurs any training, the business incurs any cost of support. I don't think developers.
But that's what I'm trying to say as well. Like, if the developers say Rust is cool, let's do this in Rust, that's the wrong reason to use Rust.
Yeah.
If the developers say, oh, microservices are cool, let's do that, and there's no business value in it, then don't do that, because microservices introduce tons of complexity into your model compared to, a monolithic application. Doesn't have to be, entirely monolithic, but if you start building your entire application like microservices, that introduces a lot of complexity as well.
It's why I've shied away from trying to label the code I write in any way, shape, or form. What I've found is I let people label it for me. So I've kind of agreed upon the fact that my application stack is a modular monolith, right? In general, it is a modular monolith. And until someone comes along and tells me you're wrong, that's what I'm going to refer to it as for right now. Like microservices, I feel are the same as REST API.
Pretty much. You can have queues in between as well, but it's A talks to B.
In terms of the way that people talk about them.
Oh yeah,
people talk about REST APIs. Have they gone off and read Fielding's document on what a REST API consists of? I haven't fully read it. I've skimmed. I have not read. So do I understand what a REST API truly looks like? No, because if you actually go into all the resource stuff and the navigational stuff and all those sorts of fun things, so most people think of REST APIs as post, get, using the verbs to represent the behavior, and that's where they stop. So I think microservices are the same thing. People have an idea of what they think they should look like, but they don't understand what it is until they dig in and find the pain points. So yeah, I kind of compare them in that way.
I'm not sure if I understand what Snobble said there, but if it is what
Really?
he said, if
I
it is
believe
what
it.
I think he said, then I think he's wrong.
Okay.
Because you don't scale the organization quickly. You can scale your application quickly when your load changes, and you can find, all right, so where are our bottlenecks? And you can scale those
I
up
just picked out
specifically.
keywords that he said, and I was like, I can agree with this. Yeah, scalability.
Yeah, but I was thinking
microservices
org.
put together. Yeah, and then when you point out org, it's like, yes, and like I can maybe see where you can be scaling an organization by using microservices, or making it easy to scale an organization by using microservices, in that other developers can work on small portions or fix small things as you grow and get more people in your organization, more teams, more products.
Yeah.
I don't always feel that just because I develop something that is scalable by virtue of, okay, it's a microservice, we can scale these out. It takes a lot more planning and prep to actually say it can be scaled as well. It's not just like I've really believed for a long time that DevOps should be integrated, and I've yet to see a company that has DevOps integrated into the team. Maybe they exist. Maybe those people, like, not allocating a developer. I'm not saying allocating a developer as the DevOps person. Right, I'm saying like actual dedicated people, full time, thinking about how does it go into the organization? How does it fit in the platform and in the infrastructure? And developers oftentimes are focused on the I did it. I kind of did something yesterday. I was thinking about the single use case, and I wasn't thinking about the actual larger system, and I completely forgot to attach a tenant ID on stream. I completely forgot, and it was just because I was focused on this one piece, and I think developers often get into that world. So, just because the technology is scalable or the way that we're developing it is necessarily scalable, I think it requires more than just developers saying, yep, that's a service. It's scalable by design. It's not. It has to. There's a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just going off a word that you said with DevOps, I think a lot of companies do DevOps in a weird way.
Yeah.
Because most companies do developers having access to the server or to, live.
Yeah.
And there's never any ops people who do dev.
No.
And is the best way of doing things really having a developer also do another job that they might not be very good at?
Mm-hmm.
That was a big issue.
Really
with the
like
previous
having
team.
access. Yeah, I really like having access to production, but I'm not saying that I'm always the best person to do the things to production, right? I'm sorry for talking over you there.
No, you're good.
What were
Thank you.
saying?
Thank you for acknowledging that. I was just agreeing with you. That was all. Heartily agreeing with you. It was very much an issue with our previous, with the job that I worked in, the team that I was with on that project, because each team member would have those incidental job duties. That's like, because we're such a small, agile team, each developer has. I will hear that for sure. Each developer has a whole bunch of extra things that they must do in order to keep the product moving forward. What is your
Agile is not a buzzword for overworked. Like, it's not. I can be all things to everybody.
Exactly.
That is not agility. That's an excuse for overwork.
Exactly. I agree.
It drives me crazy. Like, especially because a recent focus on so much of what is agile, what is Scrum, what is Kanban. You know, like what problem am I trying to solve? And then doing the training the other week, I'm like, we keep thinking agile is just an excuse to go faster, and it's not. It's not. If used effectively, yeah, but assigning a developer to DevOps is a bad idea. Having someone whose full-time role is the operation of the software integrated into the teams so that story planning, and again, we have these roles, and I'm sorry to go on a bit of a rant here. We have these roles, and we fail to communicate time and time again about the requirements of each component of the overall team. I was actually just in a call with a QA group, and I was like, look, these jobs things that are not all stable and we have worries about, what are your perspectives on it? How do you test these? How confident are you about the testing of the software? Like, do you test these things? Can you test these things? And what can I do to help you relay that so that I can say to a dev team, you have to answer these questions before a story is good? Because we don't spend enough time discussing. We let a bunch of assumptions go by, and then we wonder why things fail. So agile is about communication. It's about quick relaying of communication. To me, it is a lot of it focuses around the ability to change because you've identified a problem, the ability to adapt, the ability to go quicker because you've this is not working. We've talked about them, but we fail to do any of the stuff around that, and then we wonder why Agile's terrible or Scrum's bad or whatever. It's because we've not done it the way it was envisioned.
I'm not sure if my idea of the way that we should do agile is exactly according to the Agile Manifesto. But my thought about it would be we always have an MVP.
Right.
So we release our product into the wild, we look at how is it being used, what's happening, we take that feedback, that data back to our team, we try to adapt it in an agile way, and we keep incrementally updating the feature set. But a lot of people don't do that because they have a backlog that is 1.5 years old long. It's only they release their stuff as they go, but they don't care about what the user does after that. And then you have everything with stand-ups, which is not a part of the Agile Manifesto. I know that. And you have Kanbans, and you have this, and you have poker, and you have everything that's on top of it. I'm got a bit of a bad view of Scrum as being a bunch of consultants wanting to make a lot of money by creating procedures and stuff that Agile tried to get rid of.
I'm going to sound like a broken record eventually, and I do apologize.
You're allowed. You have
I
nothing
think
to apologize for.
One online knows what I'm about to say in terms of Agile, right? It's the whole, it was written by a group of consultants who are always going to get the requirements they need because they know how to push back and forth. And the companies that are hiring them are paying a crap ton of money for their skills. So they'll give them what they ask for because they don't want those assumptions. They don't want costly problems. In a normal business, we're happy to go faster and call it agile and cut all the corners necessary. So it's why it breaks down. And it's not. I don't know. I've just read some of Phil Schnabel's comments, and I know there's a lot of sarcasm in there, but it's not. We don't need to. We don't work as a team. We work as individual groups that then complain about each other when things go wrong. Oh, the devs missed this. Oh, the management missed this. Oh, we didn't get what we needed from the UI UX. We didn't get what we needed from PMs. We didn't get what QA didn't test this scenario. And what happened is the story didn't get defined. The developers didn't push back when they didn't have all the requirements they felt they needed. They didn't have UI design, so we moved faster. Great, but now you've got a button in the wrong place, or I keep going back to the example. That's kind of a dig at Mojo. But we don't talk about those things. QA haven't established what is testing this thing. How do we effectively test this thing? Are we confident? And do we understand how much is so that risk never gets visualized? So we just move faster until things collapse in a heap. And if we just took our time and spent some time refining those processes, we'd make them quicker because we'd be happier about the process. And we wouldn't have to discuss much. We wouldn't have to put many tools in place, and all the management crap wouldn't be necessary. So, yeah, broken record a bit, but
You're
Not bad at
it's
all.
entirely right.
that's why I'm building what I'm building, because I think that there is definite disconnect between our groups.
requirements and
Yeah.
the actual planning phase versus all the things that the developers really care about, and all the product owners, project managers getting the requirements down, and then the developers running with that, if I understand that correctly.
But even in Liquid Sky, if you were to, like, we've started to move to the task stuff, even if you were to take a requirement and say, this goes one-to-one with this task, this goes one-to-one with this task, that's on you at the end of the day to do it that way. But it's at least a distinct step. You have to have thought about it and said, yeah, that's one task, that's one task, that's one task, and broken it down that way. And we need to think.
I mean,
Yes.
Sorry, just reading work stuff.
yeah, I was reading it too, and I'm like, I kind of see that the beginning of software was what are they called? The word is like slipping out of my brain. Monolithic. Because it wasn't as complex as it is now when it first started. At least I don't think so. But now that we have plenty of memory to load our program into, then we can write these large, elegant applications with a whole bunch of different moving parts. We should organize those better, and that was where all of the microservice, monolith, service-based architecture, whatever, domain-driven.
I'd say that all the resources we have access to these days make us lazy.
Yes.
And or efficient, but
yes.
mostly lazy.
Yeah.
We could spend many hours trying to save that memory, and we'd probably be able to save a lot of memory, or tighten loops and whatever. But if you have all these gigahertz and you have all these gigabytes of RAM, then do we spend that time? Should we spend that time? Or should we just make it work in an acceptable time frame, of course?
So
I have
early on.
one. Yeah,
Sorry.
go.
No. Sound like you're gonna finish something.
Nah, yeah, I was just gonna have an example again. I built a integration way back, and my first run of it took like 3 gigabytes and 5 minutes to run, and my last iteration of it took like 50 megabytes and 20 seconds to run. So the first one worked, but in this case it was so extreme that I felt, all right, so I need to see if I can make this better, because it shouldn't take that much. But if that had ended up with 300 megabytes, that would have been fine in my mind. Even though maybe I should go all the way down to where I went because I was bored. So that's all I want to say, that we have all these resources available, so we don't need to go the whole way with optimizing everything. Yeah, Nathan, it's premature, absolutely. But when you see that there's an issue, do it, but you don't need to do it the whole way.
Yeah, I agree. So I had 2 points on that. So we have a tendency, I've met a lot of developers that have a tendency of, well, it needs to be performant, it needs to be performant, it needs to be performant. Performant for what? Like, does it meet the needs of what we're doing? Like, is it performing everything it needs to do in 100 milliseconds and it's expected in 100 milliseconds? So setting expectations on what is too fast, what is too slow, early is a good idea. Like, if you're making a web request, right? Is 3 seconds slow? Yeah, it is. If you're calling
Depending
a
on the
third-party
system.
service,
Yeah.
is it slow? Right. So what time? Setting that expectation again in that conversation, like we're calling out to a third-party service. What if they're unavailable? What steps do we take? Those are questions that should and need to be asked and answered. Because you should have API docs if you're calling a third-party service. You should just understand the error conditions. What if they're not available? These are simple questions that can be asked time and time again. And then when it comes time to speed, optimizing when you need. And I think we have become a bit lazier. I don't worry about memory management as much. Do I run it through the profile every now and then? Yes. And the more we distribute systems, the harder that becomes because there's lots more pieces to distribute. There's a lot more pieces to test. So I agree we've become lazier. On the subject of like building it quick, the MVP sort of thing, I had a conversation with Deflux very early on and of Liquid Sky, and his opinion was that I should go as quickly as I could, forget this distributed system crap, go as quickly as I could to develop the concepts that I have in my mind and just get it out there as a product. And it was a really eye-opening conversation because, again, I mean, he's a very driven individual who is, you know, he understands the market needs. He understands that getting a product to a market is an important step. And I chose at that point to say, you know what? I don't care if my product gets to market in a year or 2 years right now, because I think it will solve a problem and it's worth spending the time doing correctly. So I'm not going to worry about that. I don't care about getting to market quick. If Jira comes along and introduces all the concepts I've introduced in Liquid Sky in that time, because obviously they can go a lot faster than I can, they can develop things, or another product comes out and everyone benefits from that, then I've achieved my goal anyway, right? I've still helped developers and teams become better. So I think that's an approach. But if you're trying to get a business started, and I've worked in these systems that have been developed quickly to solve a problem, and I see the same problems over and over again, that rush to get things in place, the let's just scrap these concepts and just jam coding quickly, change. And that's not agile. That's waterfall in the worst possible way. And it just keeps, and then those optimizations actually become harder in the long term because now the code's just jumbled mess of code that you've now got to spend a lot of time refactoring to make possible to identify specific bottlenecks in the code. You can't tell, you can't see the wood for the trees, sort of thing.
I mean, you still got to make the foundation.
Yeah.
You still got to make all of that first. But I mean, the idea with Agile, in my opinion, again, would be you're building a house, build the bottom floor, let people move in while you're building the top floor.
Yeah.
Because the bottom floor is done. Don't sheet a feature, but release when a feature is done. But you can't do that before you have an MVP, because you can't just release one feature, right? That's not a product.
For the risk of doing that in a business that's driven by product requirements, the first time you release, you either have to have a clear vision of where you're going,
yes,
so that you understand all the features that are coming. You're not driving it off market demand, and then you have to assess for every. So once you release the floor of the house, someone's going to come along and I want a wall there, and someone's going to say I want a shower there, and I want a toilet there, and they happen to all be in the same place, so they happen to conflict with each other. You've got to evaluate what is good for the product, and are you willing to say no to a potential customer because you have that vision, and can you relay that vision? It's kind of why I've paused again and stepped back a little bit on Liquid Sky, because I think demonstrating that concept of transitioning from requirement to task is a useful step. It demonstrates the actual vision of what I'm trying to do and works that out. If I was to release Liquid Sky and say, here's this planning application, oh, by the way, in the future you'll be able to do some task stuff, I've then got to defend against customers who might want to put their own stamp on things. So you got to be careful of when you release.
Yeah. But you don't need to make everyone happy. But if you put your toilet in the corner because you thought it was a good idea, and all your customers say that, oh, it would be way better in the middle, I think that's a better way than working with that toilet in the corner for 3 years and then releasing it and then figuring out that people are unhappy when there are 4 floors above it and all the piping is wrong.
Yeah, but most companies forget that piping is required, or they route it into a different
yeah.
room or something. So
Yeah, and that's a point with a good foundation before you start releasing, right?
and
You
a
need
good
to
plan.
plan for
You
this.
need the blueprints for the future beyond the foundation you've built.
Yeah. I had a customer who heard about, oh, so let's do a dependency injection. Only this is a while back, and they had no idea what dependency injection was, so they just created interfaces for everything and then used it up. So you couldn't test, you couldn't change, you couldn't do anything to it, but they did have interfaces for everything that they threw around instead. And that, my point there is being, they had no foundation for it. They had no DI framework. They saw something about, oh, fancy walls, but they didn't do it the whole way and it all broke down in the end. And this was a bank.
Doesn't matter what business you are. Like, that's the problem with software.
Mm.
Software is independent to some extent. Software is independent of the vertical it's in.
Yes and no. Some areas, some businesses should have a higher demand of quality, right? They should say that, okay, so we have an MVP here, but we're not going to release it because we're not certain the foundation is good and we're not certain these walls are going to hold. While if you're, a small shop somewhere and you really want to get the walls up, yeah, maybe you release it before all of the installation is in. As long as you make sure that you can fill them later.
Quality is. I'm not going to say quality is subjective. I don't mean subjective.
Well, it is. It's the right quality for the job, right?
You can make software look amazing and be a complete mess underneath.
Yes.
So quality is only as good as the people building it and as good as the time given to spend on the right practices and things. And even
Yes.
a bank or anything, I mean,
yeah, but I hear what you're saying. I just think that a bank, for example, should have a higher requirement for quality. Now
Sure.
I use that word requirement, but they shouldn't be
You're
cutting
teaching
corners
us the right
when
vocabulary.
they deal with money.
Thank you.
When they deal with money, you shouldn't be cutting corners, right?
You shouldn't. But again, we are human beings. We
Yes,
are always
we
willing to cut a corner if it gets us to the answer sooner. AI, we're happy to cut corners there all the time now. It's getting worse.
Oh yeah.
We're becoming. We've got businesses using it as buzzwords, and they don't understand what it actually means in general to be using AI.
I mean, AI is a small chatbot that you can't get any answers from, right?
That's what the general populace seems to think.
Yeah. Did you all see that thing about the Amazon chatbot?
Probably. How long ago?
It's just a couple of weeks.
Oh, not me then.
Okay, so they added a chatbot, I think only in their mobile app, but don't quote me on that. Or maybe it was just a small test, whatever. You went to a product page and you got a chatbot and it's like, yeah, ask me questions about this product. So you could ask it, what's the size of this thing and whatever.
Rufus.
You could also ask it to build a to-do application using React, and it would do that as well. Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, it's Rufus. I just opened the mobile app.
I'm assuming that they've blocked that specific thing, but that shows a problem that is not solved yet. That these large language models also know a lot of stuff that's entirely unrelated, which you can trigger.
I just asked it how I build a distributed application using C#, and it said certainly. Building a distributed application using C# involves several key aspects and considerations.
Interesting.
Here's an overview of the process: architecture design, communication protocols, data management, caching
The
and
weird
mobile.
thing is that there are so many videos, so many conferences and stuff surrounding AI where the presenters are showing, hey, you can tell your shop specific bot to not answer questions that are outside of its realm of knowledge, outside of the things that you don't want it to, simply by saying only answer questions related to this. So they should be able to do that pretty easily. Kind of interesting that they chose not to.
I just asked it for an example in C# and it actually gave me code as well.
It gave you code.
Yeah, it's giving me a client, an iBus client. Like this code wouldn't compile by any stretch of the imagination, but it's here's a
But
producer,
it's code.
here's a producer, here's a consumer.
Oh, so I got the concepts down at least.
It's using RabbitMQ as well. It's giving me everything, including caching as well. Right now, it's still going on the code.
Wow.
And now it's giving me a book to look at.
Because we need to give you a product still, and that's how we justify that we're doing our job.
And it's copied it to the clipboard for me, so I can take the code and use it in my application. So it just gave me a full example of how to write a distributed app using RabbitMQ.
It's crazy.
So thanks for that, Thindal. That was a good diversion.
A good use of AI, in my opinion, is the smart paste that Microsoft showed off.
Oh, I like
and that's
that
starting
a
to end
lot.
up in a lot of other frameworks and stuff. But
I mean, it's been there for a while. I just haven't seen it done in a component library that gives it to you. Like you just add the reference to the component library and configure it the way that you're supposed to. But like there have been so many tools that I've used in the past for auto-filling forms, for example. Now being able to just be like Control V and it'll fill the form. Yeah. That's cool. I like it.
Or the whole, the customer can enter their address in just free text, and then you need to change it over to a form. And some people put the zip code first, and some people put the city first, and some people, add a CO address and others don't. And having it understand what it is and then splitting that up is, that's good use of AI.
I love automation. And if AI is another way to do automation rather than trying to code every single scenario, I'm for that too.
Yeah.
But again, using it responsibly, using it mindfully, and not just taking whatever it gives and throwing that as the answer for everything.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I like the assistance aspect for certain. I don't like the creative theft concepts.
No.
Get that.
I agree.
But I am for having it as that ultimate rubber duck sometimes, where you can say, hey, I'm struggling, or give me some ideas about how I might do this, what sort of technologies I could use, or what sort of things solve this problem. Is it a known problem? That's a big thing we suffer with, right? We reinvent wheels because we think of a solution to something and we don't. ETL.
ETL, exactly.
You know
this is a great example.
You had the concept there, you had everything there, but you didn't know that term. If something would have prompted you, oh, do you mean extract, transform, load? Oh, yeah, okay, that's what I'm after. So is there any examples of that, of the libraries that do this, that meet my needs? That sort of collaboration, that's where it can be very useful.
And you guys spurred so much chat.
Well,
awesome.
We said the AI word, and that's either I love this, or I hate this, or you are filthy thieves.
Yeah. Like, I don't know about outright rejecting a technology just because it's done bad things and it's used in incorrect ways. It's just hard to change something that is already infiltrated our industry. Is the word I'm looking for in a negative way.
Playing the devil's advocate here. Okay. If you're making music,
I am.
and you are inspired by every other person before you who has
Mm.
written music.
Uh-huh.
Assume that you get a customer and they want to buy music off of you, so they give you a prompt. And they ask you to, I would like something that sounds exactly like Stairway to Heaven. Would you then output Stairway to Heaven?
Me as the person providing this service, or
Yeah,
me as
yeah,
the AI?
you. I mean, if someone says, I want Stairway to Heaven,
Then I would
you're
say,
going
go
to
buy
give them
Stairway to
Stairway.
Heaven. It exists.
Yeah, but if you're going to make it, you know, you'd create Stairway to Heaven. You'd give them, all right, so here is the notes from Stairway to Heaven. I just printed them off of the internet.
Right.
While if someone says, I would like something that combines Stairway to Heaven with, I don't know, Europe Final Countdown, you're gonna use those and create a mashup of some kind. And
Right.
if you ask it, you know, create a rock song from the 80s with that sounds like the people with the big hair, not sure what it's called. But-
Hairbands.
Yeah. It's gonna look at a couple of hundred bands probably and try to create a mashup of all of them.
Right. Or at least
But the
distill
more
it to a pattern
precise,
and then
yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant with, you know, look at them. Like, find the pattern between these and output something that sounds like all of them, but also fits all the popular things. But the more precise your prompt is, the more exact your result is going to be as well. If I have someone, I want to buy a painting, and I tell them I would like a copy that looks exactly like the Mona Lisa, I'm most probably going to get something that looks a lot like the Mona Lisa. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate here.
I mean, I'm trying to fully find the things that I can agree with, because there were, like you said, a lot of things, and some of them,
Mhm.
yes, I do agree with. I know that my usage of AI generative art programs, for example, Stable Diffusion, those are for my
Mhm.
entertainment, my personal use. So that's one of those things where it's like, is it okay to use it for personal use? For your entertainment, for inspiring yourself to create using those images? Is it similar to going to whatever website that was called? I can only think of DeviantArt right now, but going to DeviantArt and getting inspiration by looking at other people's images there. I don't know.
But no art is created in a vacuum, right? So the big
Yes.
question is, I mean,
can
the
agree
big
with
difference, I mean, technically here is you're taking inspiration of everything you've heard ever versus a computer is taking inspiration from everything it's heard ever.
Right. Right.
And which
And-
is okay and which one isn't.
Yeah.
Where do we,
That makes sense.
you know, draw the line there?
And that's why I'm like, it's an assistive tool. It is something to help you in your creative process. I did hear recently someone claim that if you use AI, it takes all of the creativeness out of whatever it is that you're doing. I don't agree with that. There is still some aspect of human. You're interpreting whatever this thing gave you, which is a random compilation of all of the things that it's able to use, that it was trained on. You can still be creative with that yourself, but taking it as is, whatever is output, and then directly using that, that's where I start having issues.
Yeah. Take rom-coms. I think that's a very good example because those are so formulaic. It's, you know, guy meets girl, girl doesn't like guy, girl falls for guy fucks up, girl, what's it called? Forgives guy, and they end up happily ever after. Yeah, that is a rom-com.
Spoil
Then
the
you
plot.
have small details around that,
Spoil
but
the
that is a movie of that type. So asking an AI, make me a rom-com. Is that then?
Yeah, let me apply
Yeah.
this pattern and
Is that not okay when it outputs the same thing as everyone else, but with different characters? And then on the other side of that, if there's one example of a movie of this type, and you ask it to make a movie of that type, it's going to lean heavily on that one example. Yeah, exactly. It's the exact same movie. Actually, it's very close to a rom-com, only you have people kicking the other guy in the face instead.
I mean, like they're just archetypal stories. So hero's journey, rom-com. And like hero's journey is the pattern to follow for storytelling because it gets people invested in the characters. It has a beginning, middle, and end, and it has a story to tell, and the whole universe. So it's not so much the pattern. Like if all AI was based off of just the pattern only, it'd be hard to tell for one.
Yeah.
But for two, like when it looks a lot like the input and doesn't have deviations that are discernible to the average person from what was input, that's again an issue for a lot of people that are in those industries that are affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
but then we have,
would anyone need me?
If we look at the prompt, if you ask an AI, write me a story like Iron Man, which can output something that's very close to Iron Man, you're going to do the same. If you're a scriptwriter and you get that prompt, like write me something like Iron Man, you're probably going to output something that's pretty close to Iron Man. Well, if you ask a prompt, make me something like the hero movies from Marvel, DC, and whatever, it's going to output something different. And if you do that, you're also going to output something entirely different. So which one is okay? Are you making the same copyright infringement when you're rewriting Iron Man versus when the computer is doing that?
I think that,
and this is the whole thing about what's it called? Ethical AI use.
I think the coming back around on the fear of AI, I think what needs to happen is a general understanding given on what does AI really mean. Like we've talked about the context of it gathering information and basically being our replacement for Stack Overflow. We've done this for years, right? We've used Stack Overflow for over a decade, where we've used it as a reference to pull code from in a lot of places, right? I know that I've got attributions in my code of the Stack Overflow piece that it actually comes from. So
you follow that license?
No, I just put a.
It's just the right thing to do.
Okay. If I pull code from Stack Overflow,
if I pull code from anywhere, I would credit it in the same way. So.
But that's how we're using Stack Overflow. We're using AI. When we talk about AI, we're really using it as a massive information repository to pull context from, and in most cases for us, prompting us to. I use it as a learning tool in the same way I use Stack Overflow, right? I'm using it to help me grow. It might show me a new technique. It might show me something different. Do I pull the code in that it suggests? Most of the time, because it's exactly the code I was going to write anyway. I knew what I wanted to write. It just prompts me for it, right? Because it's got my text. That's okay. The problem is that it all comes bundled under this tag of AI. Yeah. So I think educating people, and I've been watching a YouTuber. She makes quirky videos about the topic, etc. recently, and one of the things she did is like, are you talking about this AI? Are we talking about an if statement? Because everything can be made to look like AI. Right. AI is this broad term, and people are like, oh, anti-AI. Well, which part are you actually against? Is it that copyright theft? Is it that it's creating what is an original work? How does it attribute it? And that's probably part of the problem, is how does it attribute where it took the data from if it doesn't have context?
Again, but what Thindal pointed to was the ethical AI thing, where one of the standards is that the AI is able to provide references.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, as far as the media is concerned, educating people on this thing that's not just AI as a global banner is going to be important. Otherwise, we're going to have governments starting to crack down on things. And again, it's the same problem as video games in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
The government
You
doesn't
play a
understand.
violent video game, you're going to be a violent person.
Yes.
Yeah.
The government not understand nor care about
Yeah.
this. They just have these people that are like, oh no, the world is going to hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all the troubles we have today are caused by video games from the 90s.
Oh, 100%. And Doom made me a really good shot as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the best aim ever in real life because I played Doom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're getting to that point though, so let's go ahead and do stand up. I don't want to interrupt the conversation because there is a lot to say around this topic, and it probably deserves its own 2-hour stream if we're gonna go.
Oh
deep
yeah, we
into
could
it.
talk forever about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and do stand up.
So I can start if you want.
Sounds good.
I've still got to get around to doing that Docker file, but I've been pushing it off because I don't wanna, because I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm gonna have to try and get around to it ASAP. And I had a pretty crappy week, so I've gotten absolutely nothing done. But yeah, my target for the weekend: get that Docker file working, work on the demo for my next session, because I need to get that done. It's at the end of this month. And no blockers.
Cool. TBD.
You could use AI for your Docker file. For me, this week, productive on Liquid Sky. I tend to keep my updates to Liquid Sky because it's more entertaining than what I actually do. So made some progress on getting tasks, as we called them, or we're labeling them right now, into Liquid Sky. Got the UI started today. I was really happy that made progress. So there. Going into Monday, getting that UI in for adding tasks, and then starting to focus on that. Hey, here's requirements, make it tasks. So that'll be the focus of next week. And only blocker I have is the stupid role stuff in the API, which I have no idea how to even ask for help on. So there we go.
Yeah.
That is me.
Well, Napalm did his stand-up too, so I may as well read it. Working on this API with event sourcing still, infrastructure next, and my Aspire fishing tracker. No blockers.
Is that open
for
source,
me?
the event sourcing thing?
Yeah.
Is
Is
it
it?
open to discussion?
Is it Napalm? Napalm. Dugasoft is still complaining about his boss.
TBD, please send me the bot code somehow. If it's on GitHub or whatever, send me a link. Much appreciated.
Absolutely.
And
So Lion, you.
Yep. I was going to say something about TBDs. Oh, the task name, the name of task that you're currently labeling as task should just be #notstory. #notstory. Whatever. I fell on my face on that one. So I've been working on implementing the remainder of this rules engine thing. I am just going to go with that whole code compiling, run the syntax, run it as a script. That's what it's called, scripting. The Microsoft.C#.scripting library to run the syntax that way. I was blocked for a while because I didn't know which direction to go with interpreting, turning the rule into something that is actionable to get an output. But that's done now, so I should be able to finish that today. That's my goal for the rest of the day. And then on Monday, we're going to do .NET 8 upgrade for the financial management tracker, and then do Workday stuff for the rest of the streams.
Awesome. I hear it's a simple, easy procedure, and I just jinxed it for you, so...
Well, I mean, that's what I said last time, and I can't remember. I think it was maybe Napalm that pointed out that I was like, oh, this is just going to be easy. It's hilarious.
Yeah. So take care, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. You
Great
too.
weekend,
Thanks for being
everybody.
here.
Take care, all.
Yeah. Bye, friends.
Ciao. The awkwardness at the end there, man. I totally failed at that last part. It was great having TBD and Thindal on, though. They were fantastic holding that conversation. Thank you to Good VJ earlier for starting off in the channel, coming up with just his experiences as a software dev. Oh, don't know what's happening to my brain. I started thinking about the project that I need to go back to, and I'm like already doing it in my head. So focusing for the next 3 minutes so that we can get this raid going. We are going to raid out, and we're gonna raid. Andres is playing it's a cool game, but he's still playing a game. I don't want game playing. We got Marcus, who goes by Black Mage UK on Twitch. He is doing a cyberpunk style city. He's already done one before and it looked amazing, but he's working in Unity doing this. We have Candy Dev, who we've rated before, another game dev working in Godot. That looks like Unity. He usually works in Godot. That might be Godot, but it almost looked like Unity for a second there. Or Blender. He's in Blender currently. Never mind. And we also have Code Red Games. Xcoding was streaming earlier, but you saw him in chat. He ended his stream, came in here. So thank you for showing up, Xcoding. Happy to have you here. We were gonna raid you. That was my target, but those are the people that I'm currently lurking on their streams. So unless any of you have another developer that you would prefer that I raided, I am going to set up a raid for but you went and spoiled it. For Black Mage UK. Okay. His stream is intended for mature audiences only, so if you aren't a mature audience, then skedaddle. Get out. Or if you don't want to see that type of content, then you can leave the raid. However, I do encourage you to come with us, hang out on Marcus's channel, and see some really, really cool scenery stuff, ambience, just some really good stuff. I'm an immature audience, but I'm an adult. Thank you all for being here. Again, on Monday, as I said in stand-up, we will be doing the .NET 8 upgrade to the financial management tracker, which should be easy. So we'll get that done, and then we'll switch to my work products, the stuff that I'm currently working on. And then .NET 9 in November 12th. If you don't know, .NET Conf is going to happen on November 12th. Is going to start on November 12th. I think the skills challenge is already up. So, yeah. Oh, and all the stuff. YouTube, posting VODs, Discord. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend. Ciao.